Hip, hip, hooray, and welcome, everybody. I'm Natalie, and this is Scientology Life After a Cult. Today, we're going to get into some serious culty stuff. We're going to talk about how let's see. I think we're going to start off with how Scientology is just being handed their butt over on Twitter. Aaron Smith-Levin at Growing Up in Scientology dropped some news about that yesterday. We're going to talk about that. I would like you guys to tell me what you think were the most polarizing stories within our community, within the Scientology multiverse for 2024. We're going to talk about a couple of those. So get in the chat. If you are on the replay, get in those comments and plug it in there. The who, the what, the where. We are also going to talk about some cult documentaries, both past and that are coming out. We're going to look at a clip from Jenna Miscavige, did a great video about life post-divorce and her relationship with her former husband. I thought that was so insightful, coming from the perspective, too, of somebody who grew up in Scientology. And we're also going to touch on something in my hot topics. You know, towards the end, I like to talk about hot topics, which is basically things that I want to talk about, and I need your opinion on it. And we're going to talk a little bit about hyperfixation and hyperfocus. More on that in a bit. It'll make sense to some of you. Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for the alohas and the hellos in the chat. It really does feel like a Friday, probably because it's New Year's Eve, not an actual, but really it has Friday vibes, and I like it. I'm here for it. Okay, first let's talk about a little bit of entertainment news in this culty world, because you guys, I don't know if I believe this story. I've seen it in a couple of publications, but let's talk about it anyways. And the story's floating around that Tom Cruise is finally set to reveal all on his marriage to Katie Holmes. I really doubt this. But an insider says the actor is ready to open up about the controversial marriage and bitter divorce. Don't you like how they just throw that in, right? Just the bitter divorce. Maybe Tom Cruise could take a page out of Leah Remini's book. I'm just saying, right? Like, I don't know. She seems to have a pretty amicable divorce. And so far as we know, it's pretty much working out. I read that they still spend time together on the weekend. And here's Tom Cruise, like, not communicating with any of his exes, including the ones that he has had children with. And the reason why I don't believe that he's going to come out and start suddenly talking about this, watch me be totally floored and shocked if he actually does, is because he would have to talk about his role in not having a relationship primarily with Suri, his biological daughter, with Katie Holmes, and would have to address the fact that, of his 3 marriages, he's like no contact with all of them, and 2 of them he had kids with. Far as we know, right? Behind the scenes, could they be in contact? Maybe. I kind of doubt it, especially given the rules in Scientology of disconnection and not being in touch with suppressive people, and being that Tom Cruise has a type, which appears to be what Scientology considers to be a suppressive female. So by that math, Tom Cruise might be after me. I'm just saying. I'm suppressive. I'm a female. I'm probably too old, though. I'm 54. And didn't he end all his marriages when they hit like 33? I don't know if that is factual. I've read it multiple times, but you know how the internet works. So I don't know how much stock I put in that. You guys tell me, do you think that in 2025, we're going to see Tom Cruise come clean about a lot of this stuff and his marriages? I don't. Hey, Farrell Cheryl, good to see you. Marilyn Honig from Coffee, Cult, and Crafts is here as well. Welcome. Hi, Abigail. I see you there. Thank you, by the way, to the moderators helping out today, you fabulous members in the live chat, and everybody here in the live chat. It's so much fun. Lorraine in the Pacific Northwest is like, no way. No, he's not doing it. I kind of think that too. I do. E.S. Gotcher says, still can't believe they named their daughter after a hires drawn buggy. I don't even know. I am not familiar with Suri being that, but that is funny if it is. Marlene says, I agree with you, Natalie. Cruise won't talk about marriages. You got to love a sentence that starts with, I agree with you, Natalie. Thank you, Marlene. And I agree with you as well. Nisa's got a great question. Is he going to tell the truth about his marriage like he tells the truth about Scientology, which is a lie? Exactly, Nisa. We know, like, I don't know. I don't see it happening. I don't. But we'll see. We'll see. Little bit other entertainment news. Anybody here a Wicked fan? One in the chat if you're super into Wicked, be it the Broadway show or the movie. I have seen neither. I would like to. My daughter Kelsey is a huge Wicked fan. She saw the Broadway show in New York. She has seen the movie. Maybe I'll see it this weekend. I have not seen it yet. Squirrel SPTV is a Wicked fan. Okay, cool. Cool. Professor Furberger's like, nah, too, I'm out. Oh, Marcy, cool, very cool. So I am new to the Wicked multiverse, if you will, if there is such a thing. So guess what Wicked just did? Wicked just surpassed John Travolta's Grease for the biggest global Broadway adaptation. And there's the two cast members. So Grease, you remember when Grease came out, right? And that was like the highest grossing Broadway adaptation in global box office history. Now Wicked has become the highest grossing Broadway adaptation in global box office history, dethroning Mamma Mia. And the article goes in to talk about too, how it beat out Tom Cruise. Not Tom Cruise. Listen to me. Tom Cruise was not in Grease. That was John Travolta, JT, as he's often referred to in the Office of Special Affairs leaked documents that we see. We've been talking about those a lot lately. I thought that was a little bit of interesting entertainment news. Go Wicked. There's always going to be something that beats the previous. And I mean, Grease is such an iconic movie in so many ways. And I think it's always fun and interesting to see what comes out next that kind of tops that. Kimberly says, yes, Wicked is the best movie and in theater. Okay, so you're saying, Kimberly, I should definitely see it in theater and not wait to stream it. I do have a large television in my living room. But if you think like, no, girl, you got a full-blown theater it, then maybe. I've not been to a movie theater in years. My Tony had restless leg. And so anytime he would sit like that, it would just be uncomfortable. He'd have to get up and walk. So it wasn't very enjoyable for him. So I've not really seen a lot of movies in the theater in recent years. Plus with streaming, and I can be comfortable. You know what I'm saying? Like at home, I can just get my own food and I can just wear whatever I want. Although I guess I technically could do that in a movie theater, show up in my PJs, my zip up onesie with lots of pockets for snacks that I'm going to sneak into the theater because I'm way too cheap to pay their ridiculous, stupid prices for candy and stuff. And frankly, I'm not that into popcorn, so I can always look beyond that. Stace says Wicked is amazing as a stage show. Ooh. Jersey Jan, I do not believe you can stream Wicked yet. No, I don't know. I do not believe that you can just yet. Interesting, though, that I've not seen it. Like, how have I not seen it? All right, now we are going to take a look at a couple of crazy Scientology memes, if you will, that the Underground Bunker has put together. We're going to share some of those. Let's see. Here we go. So as we turn from 24 to 25, let's just skip forward all. Here we go. This is the part I'm excited about. Observers' favorite shops, like photo shops of 2024. Look at this. This is from Phil Jones, y'all. In fact, I have a clip from Phil Jones today. Philip Jones here on YouTube. I'm the biggest, baddest mofo out there. I'm tough and I'm a bazillionaire. So that does look like it is Grant Cardone as a little mini Incredible Hulk there. Well done, Philip Jones. That is funny. I like that. Then we've got this one. OT8 is great. Mark Perry, Maddox, Miscavige, Applewhite argue over whose cult is worse. Rapture predicted for January 25th, 2025, says Prophet Ken Delusion of San, what is it? Jacinto? I knew that. Now I can't remember it. But this is hilarious. David Miscavige arguing with Applewhite, which was the Heaven's Gate cult leader, over whose cult is worse. Okay, so of course, this led me. I know what I think, and I got a feeling. Well, I don't know. I'm not going to say. Little poll. Which is worse, Scientology or the Heaven's Gate cult? 1 for Scientology, 2 for Heaven's Gate. Now, Heaven's Gate did kill a bunch of their members in a mass unaliving. There are aspects of Scientology, though, if you over time, when you think about lost lives, that could be probably more than that. But I'm curious, for those of you familiar, which one do you think is worth? Ooh, a lot of 2s. Okay, we got some 1s in there. Scientology's worse. Some are like, no, Heaven's Cult, girl, every day, all day. Every day, all day. Tell me more about why, too. I'm curious. And I do go back after the live stream because things happen fast to try to go and read any comments that I might have missed there. Great, told Jersey. Why does it have to be a choice? They could be equally the same. That is also an answer. Yeah. Okay, good. Keep those coming and I will check it out. Now let's move on to the next one here. This is the man wants a good kicking. This man strangles his wives. This man kidnaps babies. Guilty bastard. Quackery squat fake non-person. So it's like a movie poster there. You've got L. Ron Hubbard in there and more cast of characters here. That one, I don't know. I didn't think that one was that funny, but I do appreciate the effort people put into these. This one, I love this. And again, it is from Phil Jones. You can find him, Philip Jones, here on YouTube, proudly presenting the dauntless and defiant. And what's funny about that is that's how those are Scientology's words for describing their major like donors, the International Association of Scientologists. They are dauntless and defiant. Boy, you know what's interesting, though? They sure don't like it when other people are dauntless or defiant. So I guess as long as you're a member of the International Association of Scientologists, you can be dauntless and defiant. Just don't direct that energy at Scientology because things will happen. Things will happen. That is funny, though. He's got different donation amounts, 20 million, 30 million, 40 million, 50 million. Hilarious. Phil Jones. I love it. This one's by somebody named Richard. This looks like David Miscavige and one of the Muppet guys. And any failure to sell me the property will result in our religious arbitration. Muppet guy's like, hey, I'm not going to sign this. I'll just give him the big bird. That is kind of funny. You know, I do look a good Muppet. This one also by Richard. Picture of a student's mind. Picture of L. Ron Hubbard's mind. This one spoke to me. It really did. I feel like this is a pretty accurate representation of what I imagine L. Ron Hubbard's mind to be like. Now this one. Boom, boom, just the no tape over the mouth. I think that says it all. So those are really fun and funny. I'm going to link them down below along with all of the clips, videos, and articles we're going to go over today in the description of this video soon as I'm done. Let's see. Are you guys popping in the chat at all? Who your picks are for 2024? What were your favorite Scientology stories? I'm curious. I was thinking of, being it's the end of the year and the new year, doing a whole like recap of stuff. And honestly, I just didn't want to do it. There's a lot about this last year I don't want to revisit, even though in ways I should. And not even, you guys know, just going through everything with losing my dad and my Tony. At the same time, there were such amazing things that happened this year with the growth of my channel, getting to know all of you, creating and all of us together, building this community. For me, that is what 2024 was really about, the losses, but also the community and the gain in that ways. And I'll be honest, just getting through it, I cannot wait to turn the calendar to 2025 for tomorrow. Where are you guys at on that? How are you feeling about the new year? I'm feeling very optimistic, hopeful, and I am excited. But I also know that there are going to be challenges in 2025. Just because it's a new year doesn't mean all the problems or challenges go away. In my personal situation, the grieving process is something I'll be dealing with, I think, till the end of time is how it feels at the moment. But people keep telling me it gets easier in ways. Those moments of joy and happiness become longer in between processing and going through grief. Nutmeg, I'm with you. 2024 was a slog, but we made it. Exactly. Sometimes the best thing about something is that it's over. And I feel that in ways with Scientology, in that when I did services in Scientology, mainly the upper levels, the upper operating Thetan levels on Scientology's what? Bridge to Total Freedom. I did through operating Thetan level 4. And a lot of the gains when I look back were things like this. I'm so glad it's over and I don't need to do it anymore. But you can't say that in Scientology. You have to write a success story at the end of every service, every course, every auditing thing that you do. And if you don't write a success story, you do not pass go. You do not collect 200. You go straight into the jail where you have to pay more money to redo what you did, that you didn't get the results that Scientology said you should get. So in Scientology, we get really good at getting ourselves, if we are round, to fit into a square hole, if we are square, to fit into the round hole, so we can fit this idea of what it means to be a Scientologist and what it means to be winning all the time, which is not obtainable and not real. It's me says, I forgot it was New Year's Eve until about 15 minutes ago. Oh, that's funny. Boda29 says, me too, Natalie. Tough year for our family as well. But yes, always still hopeful and optimistic. Yeah, I am hopelessly optimistic, I feel, in many ways. And I don't know, honestly, I wouldn't trade it, because going through, when I look back at so much of my life and growing up in Scientology and the Sea Org and all of the challenges that I have dealt with, I think it's my optimism of knowing, things and things have gotten better. Things have gotten better. My recovery from Scientology continues. Uh, I look back on, tomorrow is the 1-year anniversary of when I left Scientology officially. Tomorrow will be my 15th anniversary of leaving Scientology. Woohoo! Yay, yay. I should have planned a party. I will be celebrating tonight, though, with my grandkids. They're doing a sleepover. Well, Oliver lives here. But yeah, Mina, my granddaughter's coming over, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I want to know what you guys are doing. Abigail, I am going to the post office today. I did not make it yesterday, but I am going today. Let's see. Okay, so now let's move over to, let's talk about some cult documentaries, because right now, y'all might have some time off in the coming days and need some things to watch. Now, number one, my recommendation is you binge my videos. I have playlists on my channel. I don't know if you knew that. You can go and look at survivor stories. You can go and look at protest stories. You can go and look at celebrity news. I've got a playlist for each one. In fact, Nancy, if you could throw up in the chat just a couple of those playlists. I don't know if it's one link or you got a link to each playlist. That is my first suggestion on bingeable material during your time off over the New Year's, today, tomorrow, and then of course the weekend. I mean, maybe some of you are lucky you got the whole week off. Then you have no excuse but to binge every video on my channel. But there are also some documentaries, some culty that you guys might want to catch up. And I've got a list of that. We're going to look at the 30 best cult documentaries and where to watch them. And I bet you, I would almost bet money. I'm not going to actually bet money, but I would bet, if not somebody here in the live, somebody on the replay has seen every single one of these. And I'm curious, when you see one that you saw, put it in the chat, put the name of it in the chat. I'm curious as to how many of you have seen these. So let's see here. Who has seen Wild Wild Country? So this is on Netflix. When it comes to cult documentaries, you'll probably find Wild Wild Country mentioned in every list. And if you've dipped your toes in the esoteric pool of enlightenment gurus, you've probably heard the name Osho at least once. But before he was known as Osho, leader of the Rajneeshpuram cult, Bhagwan Shri Rajneesh allegedly started out with the goal of establishing a self-sustaining independent commune in rural Oregon. This, I do not think I've seen it. I actually have this one on my list that I do want to see. The program, Cons, Cults, and Kidnappings. This one's part true crime, part cult documentary. Have y'all seen this one? It really gives cadet.org very much so in many ways, especially what was once the Cadet Rehabilitation Project Force. So this, if a line between the two even exists, the horrors at the heart of the program are ones the wider zeitgeist was first exposed to via Paris Hilton. And if you don't know, Paris Hilton got some laws changed or enacted to protect kids in these programs. This is about teens who were put into a program to make them better, and abuses that occur with these organizations doing this when it comes to troubled teens. And Scientology is no stranger to that. They've done it through multiple programs. You've heard the horror stories of out of Mace Kingsley, the Mace Kingsley Ranch, the cadet org itself at the international base or near it, and also in Los Angeles. Ooh, Cheryl saw that one. Okay. Conda saw the program. Kathy Scogins does not have Netflix. Somebody give her their password and let her buddy on that, because some of these I feel like you got to see. You got to see Kathy. What else we got here? Dancing for the Devil. This was the 7M TikTok cult. I'm curious if you guys have seen this. This is basically about a TikTok cult. It was very interesting. I don't think I finished it. I need to finish it. Waco Rules of Engagement. Now, this was produced only 4 years after the intense 51-day-long standoff in Waco between law enforcement and David Koresh's Branch Davidian cult. This actually makes my feet and hands sweat. I think it's because of, well, if you've watched it or you're familiar with what happened with that cult, one of the questions that has come up multiple times is, do you think Scientology would ever go the way of the Branch Davidians? I don't think so. But I also don't underestimate the crazy of Scientology leader David Miscavige and whoever is currently working with him to execute a lot of his crazy and abusive orders. Let's be honest, he's not doing it alone. He's never done it alone. Ooh, Kathy says that happened right down the road from my Mima's house in Waco. Oh my gosh, that must have been really tense there. Mama Opal has not seen Dancing with the Devil, but she just added it to her list. Let's see here. Stolen Youth inside the cult at Sarah Lawrence. I'm not seeing this one here, but this buzzed about documentary tells the story of a group of 8 former Sarah Lawrence college students and roommates whose lives were infiltrated by Larry Ray, a decades-old master manipulator and the father of one of the students, peeling back layers of Ray's calculated coercion and psychological abuse. That sounds like one to give you nightmares, but interesting. Escaping twin flames. I've been dying to do a video about this, and I still am going to have it on my video for 2025. Twin flames. Y'all familiar with this one? Tell me the interest level on this, because I want to do a whole separate video about it because it's so crazy. And the manipulation used to convince people that these two are the ones to choose who your mate should be at one point. The evolution of their cult is crazy. Mama Opal said twin flames. I saw it. I'm interested. There's more than one. I feel like there's one on Hulu as well. It Me says, I saw this one and someone I went to high school with was in it. I had no idea. Ooh. Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. I could not believe what I was seeing when I watched this. All right. Nutmeg says, definitely interested in twin flames, but haven't seen it. It's so manipulative because it really plays into our basic need and desire to be loved and find our soulmate, or as they call it, twin flame. But things get very twisted and manipulative as these two make a whole ton of money doing this. And at one point get people to get into changing their gender in order to be with the same sex person. Not so much because it was their idea, but because these two said, yep, that's what you should do. I find that crazy, but I am going to watch it again and probably do a video about it in 2025. Heaven's Gate. Let's see. This one. Didn't we just talk about that one? Anyways, another one, documentary, Shiny Happy People, Duggar Family Secrets. That was a good one. Did you guys see it? SP Crusader says, comment, the Cult Justice series is a good watch. Good to know. If you guys, you got some favorite cult docs, throw them in the chat. If you're on the replay, please throw them in the comments. Jersey Jan saw Shiny Happy People. Mama Opal couldn't get through it. Ooh, baby girl saw both. Nice. All right. Bikram yoga. That was another big one. That was a big one. I feel like there was a lot to say about that. A lot to say. This one covered, oh my gosh, it just covered so many different things. And I had heard about Bikram yoga but understanding the history and what it had to do with the hot yoga community with this, what do they call him? A self-styled guru. That is a good one. Jonestown, the life and death of the People's Temple. Disturbing as all get out. If you are not familiar, definitely want to be familiar with that one. The Source family. Now, this one delves into the story of Father Yod or Yod, the founder of a spiritual commune in the Hollywood Hills during the 60s. It exposes the darker side of the cult and its charismatic leader. Because remember, every cult has to have a charismatic leader. Holy hell, this one I actually did not hear about. And this is with a former member of the Buddhafield cult, where I was like, oh, what is that? Don't know much about it. Here, of course, is my favorite, Going Clear, Scientology, and the Prison of Belief. I'm so glad it made the list. I'm sure that the vast majority of you have already seen this one. If you haven't, run, do not walk, stop what you're doing, take the day off. I mean, just like call in already. It's pretty much a holiday today and be like, you know what? I've got things to watch. Squirrel SPTV is like, yes, Going Clear. Marcy too. Let's see. Andrew, great point. Sadly, all these stories end in only sorrow. Never heard of the ending of a cult that happened without terrible loss. Very true. Very true. Jersey Jan says Going Clear book was amazing too. Did I tell you guys that I got to meet Lawrence Wright, who wrote the book Going Clear? And then the documentary was done with Alex Gibney. It was there was a period of time after I left Scientology where a bunch of us former Sea Org members and even some public would get together and meet in different places and basically party. At least that's what I did. And it was so cool because you got to meet a lot of the people or re-meet people you knew in the Sea Org. And for me, my experience was I was able to have conversations with people that helped me put together the pieces of a few things that happened within my life and my story in Scientology. And now that we're out, we could speak freely about it. I found that very helpful. But at one of these, I got to meet Lawrence Wright, who was there interviewing former Sea Org members and Scientology public for his book. And I thought that was kind of cool. Exactly, Itchy Thetans. I'm famous adjacent. I'm going to put that on my LinkedIn. Famous adjacent. It's got a ring to it. I might need to make merch. Famous adjacent. Okay, let's see. So Going Clear's in there. The Vow is in there, right? Which is the Nixium cult, which let's not forget Keith Raniere got his start in Scientology. Manson also dabbled in Scientology. Prophets Pray. This is one that I can't. Oh, no, I did. I am familiar with this one. This is one about what's his name? That Jeffs guy. Warren Jeffs. Keep Sweet, Pray and Obey. Oh, I love this one. I really love my Mormon cult documentaries. I don't know why. It's probably one of my favorite of all of them outside of Scientology, of course. That is my ultimate favorite cult. I keep wanting to talk more about other cults, and we do it a little bit here. I definitely want to focus more in 2025 because my fascination, and I think yours as well, does not limit things to Scientology. And I feel that the more I understand about other cults, the more it helps with my healing as well. And I think that's why I've watched so many of these too. Yes, the Moonies, living in the gray area. That is a fascinating cult as well. One of Us, I think I saw this one. It was about the Hasidic Jewish community. The Synanon fix did the cure become a cult? This one I was not familiar with. I do believe it's about a Santa Monica drug rehab program started by Charles Dederich. The Keepers. What were we just saying about the line between religious communities and cults? In cults, you'll often find a fixed hierarchy, abuse of power enabled by that hierarchy. Absolutely. I do not think I've seen that one. I want to see it. The Way Down. Oh, Gwen Shamblin. I recently found out about this one. This is going on my like deep dive list. I'm going to get massively hyper focused on this, I think, this weekend and get almost nothing else done. That's my plan. The Family. I saw that one. This also documentary offers a chilling glimpse into the secretive religious and political influential group known as the Fellowship or the Family. Children of God, the Cult at the End of the World. This one I didn't know much about at all, but I heard of it. And one of my friends here on YouTube recently sent me some information about this. And the Shinrikyo, I think is how you say it, a Japanese religious movement and doomsday cult, came out around 95 when or at least that's when a lot of us found out about it, when members launched a deadly bioterrorism attack on Tokyo subway. The Deep End. This is one I don't think I was familiar with this one. I was a little familiar with T Swan, a millennials spiritual leader with a massive following on social media. It's a 4-part series. Anybody see that one? I do want to see it. Unveiled, Surviving La Luz del Mundo. The horrifying story of the systematic decades-long sexual abuse of children perpetrated and promoted by leaders of that cult. I've not seen that one. I don't think I can stomach it. Maybe later. Hillsong, a mega church exposed. I want to see this one. I thought this one was interesting too. I think I've been to a mega church, or what would be, I visited one time, but this sounds really interesting. Love Has Won, the Cult of Mother God. I did see this one. I have thoughts about it. Did you guys see this one? This woman was in Hawaii at one point. Ooh, it was crazy. Her followers, it's like she passed away and they wrapped her up like a mummy and just kept her body around. Not weird or culty at all, because she was coming back. She was coming back. Thank goodness Scientology didn't do that with L. Ron Hubbard. At least Scientology, they did believe in reincarnation, so you don't need to keep the body. The person supposedly can come back into another body. I guess we're still waiting on L. Ron Hubbard to do that. Oh, that's right. Itchy Thaton's Mother of God turns blue. That's right. She did turn blue. I think it was from a product that she was taking that they actually sell or sold. Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. Now, this was a series on Hulu, and I wanted to love it. I wanted to get into it. I was excited when it was coming out. I watched a couple of episodes. I couldn't finish it. I do want to finish it because maybe it gets better. I was excited for the start, and then I fell off. Anybody watch the whole thing? Let me know what you think about it. Like, is it worth going back and finishing? Dirty Pop, the boy band scam. I did not see that one. Not as interesting to me, but maybe to you. Maybe to you. So lots of stuff. So when you're done binging every single video on my channel. Oh, let's see here. I'm keeping track too and seeing, we're getting some of your comments starred on what the top stories you thought were in the Scientology multiverse. So keep throwing those into the chat, and Nancy's going to be starring, and we are going to go over those. If you're catching this on the replay, jump in those comments too. Jump in those comments. Tenacity says we should check out the Nuwabian Nation or Moors on Apple TV. Insane. Great example of what happens when an individual's power goes unchecked. Ooh, that does sound like a good one. Such a good one. Christy Bell 62, thank you. Just a side note, totally off topic, but didn't want to forget. You made it through your first holiday season since my Tony passed. So very proud of you, Natalie. Thank you, Christy, and all of you for your awesome emails and comments and support, and every way that you guys have helped uplift me and help me Helped me basically keep showing up every day. We all made it through our first holidays. Oh, by the way, yesterday, if you didn't catch it, I did a live stream on my channel with Tony's boys. You guys have never met Miles and Dominic. You might have seen them when we went to scatter Tony's ashes this past year in Hawaii, but we sat down and did a little video, and they've been wanting to talk to you guys and express their appreciation over everything that so many of you did after my Tony died to make things so much easier and to be able to fulfill many of Tony's wishes and hopes of what would happen and experiences that the boys could have after his death. So please check that out. It's on my channel under live videos. Let's see. Oh my gosh, I love seeing all your comments of your favorite cult stuff. Hey, Susan Miller from Portugal. Robin Miner says Mormon wives is hilarious. They drink, have sex out of wedlock. It's the New Jersey sphere shape. But I get your point though, Robin. Maybe I will go back and finish it then. Maybe I will go back and finish it. We shall see. We shall see. Okay, let's see. Now let's go over, and because there are two, there's a lot of like, I cannot get enough of lists made up of like top culty stuff. I really can't. There's this video here on YouTube from Most Amazing Top 10 on 10 disturbing real cults that still exist in 2024. And of course, Scientology is called out in a fun.
Scientology is knowing yourself, life, family, the universe, friends, the spirit, and the word of God. Also, their introduction video looks and sounds like the safety videos they play on airplanes.
It really does. It's almost like when you're getting your voiceover people or your actors in there doing these things, like, do you show them like, here is the instructions on an airplane? That's the vibe and the aesthetic that we're going for.
Clearly, their budget is not going to that. According to others, it is part forced group therapy, part religious.
It's David Miscavige, the leader of Scientology, in one of his incredibly expensive suits.
Propaganda, part UFO group, and all money-grabbing pyramids.
You know that man is not getting $50 a week and paying for it out of that. That we know.
Game. I mean, what kind of church charges its disciples to learn its teachings? And I'm not talking about donations. In order to reach the highest currently available level in the church, it will cost.
I love too that she called that out, because it is said in Scientology to former members, it's part of the carrot that keeps them locked in it. Operating Thetan level 9 and 10 are going to be released as soon as we get all these orgs to, now I don't know if they're trying to make them all ideal orgs, which basically just means they have a nice empty building, or if they're still pushing to get to the size of Old St. Hill, which is the St. Hill organization in England, where when L. Ron Hubbard was running it, it was really bustling and expanding. Because back in my day, y'all, when I was in Scientology, that was the promise. Operating Thetan levels 9 and 10 will be released when we get all Scientology organizations expanded to this size. And why? Y'all gonna love this. Why does Scientology feel they need to grow their organizations that big prior to releasing Operating Thetan 9 and 10, which does not exist? It does not exist. It's one of the biggest lies that Scientologists are told, that this is going to be released. It doesn't exist. It was never done, never created. If it's released, then it's probably something David Miscavige made up. But the whole thing is, it keeps them going. Oh, we're going to do it. We're going to get to Operating Thetan level 9 and 10. And that's why we're sticking it out, because our organizations have to be this big, because the inflow of public that's going to be created by these giant organizations, we need to have the infrastructure to handle it. Are you serious? I can't believe that. You know, when I heard that in Scientology, I was like, okay, I mean, I guess it makes sense. The orgs all have to be bigger because there'll be more people coming in because of these OT levels being released. I'm like, whatever. George Massey says, Operating Thetan level 9, leave Scientology. OT10, start your own YouTube channel to expose Scientology. George Massey, I love that. I am adopting it now. Those are the new confidential levels of Scientology's Operating Thetan level 9 and 10. Leave Scientology and start a YouTube channel. George, I love that. Okay, let's finish this clip up.
Cost you $391,000. The whole
Now, I wonder where they got that figure from, if that includes donations, but that's pretty accurate, you guys, to get up through operating Thetan level 8.
The whole thing is just insane. And in America, the organization has nonprofit status, meaning they don't pay taxes. Scientology is weird and sketchy, and I recommend you stay far away from it.
Wise girl, wise girl. I will link the whole video down below. Lots of other great information in there. Now, let's talk about some things coming up in 2025. So I'm going to skim through this one pretty quick because it's pretty much a list of some documentaries, including true crime stuff that's coming up on Netflix, Hulu, and Prime. Couple things to keep an eye out for, which I'm going to be keeping an eye out for. Where are the pictures here? Here. Diddy, the Making of a Bad Boy. That's coming out January 14th. While you wait for 50 Cent's Netflix docuseries, there are a number of Diddy documentaries set to drop in 2025. Are we surprised? No, we're not. We're not surprised. There are going to be many, and I'm interested to see what you guys think about them. Many. So that's one of the first ones that's coming. An update on our family. I don't know if you guys caught this story. This one from several years ago. There are these YouTubers, Micah and James Stauffer. They were family bloggers in the spotlight, bigger in the spotlight because they gave up their adopted son. So that sounds like an interesting update. Going to watch that. Scamanda, that's coming out end of January. Based on the true crime podcast of the same name. Scamanda, 4-part docuseries, tells the story of Amanda Riley, a mother, a wife, a blogger, and Christian whose cancer journey captivated thousands. Let's see. What is this one from? Don't Die centers on the man who wants to live forever. I saw a little bit about this guy on YouTube. Like he's trying to stop aging or reverse it to just live a long time. I don't know. I might watch it because maybe he's got some skincare recommendations. I could use those. This one, what is this one here? New Aaron Hernandez documentary. Then it lists out just some that are coming up. This one covers Hulu and Prime. Disney Plus stuff coming out, Peacock stuff coming out. So I'm going to link it down below so you can see the whole thing. I just wanted to get it on your radar because a couple of those things, I was like, yes, I'm interested. I want to see this. Take my money. Hey, Phil Jones, we were just chatting about you. In fact, oh, no, your clip's coming up. Okay. Let me quickly get a little caught up here. Make sure I'm not missing anything. Debbie with an I. Love Has Won. The Cult of Mother God. That was a good one. Oh, Beryl Cheryl says, I know someone in Budafield. Interesting. Living the Gray Area. You might as well do one on Nexium. That's not a bad idea, actually, because a lot of us are familiar with that one. Professor Furberger, it's time for another major documentary on Scientology, an update for the masses. I agree completely. Super Weekend Warriors. I got several infection from the Purif, which caused a cyst on my head and required surgery and a long recovery. That is crazy. And I did get your email. We are going to connect. Let's see here. E.S. Gotcher says, they make you lie to yourself till you believe it. Isn't that the truth? Leslie says, when Nat says, the bridge to total freedom. It's one of my favorite things. Once you start doing it that way, you can't stop. I feel like I can't even say it without I hear it in my head that way. That's kind of how that started, is every time I would say it normally in conversation, that's how I would hear it in my head. And then when I got on YouTube, I just start saying it how I hear it in my head, which, to be honest, a lot of what you guys get are things how I hear them in my head, which makes sense, right? Things that randomly pop in. Let's see. I'm going to save that one for the top stories. Squirrel SPTV, we pray 2025 brings the end of Scientology. Amen to that. Yes. Boda29 says, me too, Natalie. Tough year for our family as well, but yes, always still hopeful and optimistic. I love that. Marlene says, Masterson going to prison was finally justice for the survivors of his crimes. That is very true. Very true. Let's see. Okay, so I'm going to catch up to those because we're going to do our top stories that you guys think. Throw them in the chat. Throw them in the comments. 2024 in the Scientology verse, what to you stood out the most? And we're going to go over those. But first, we got to talk about Clearwater's Scientology, Psychiatry, and Industry of Death because they're making some claims. Look at this. This is a Scientology press release, I do believe. Recently out, Clearwater's Psychiatry and Industry of Death Museum draws over 10,000 visitors. I love, too, how they share a picture that looks totally AI generated and nobody is there. In fact, all the lights are not even on. So, well done, Scientology. A controversial museum in Clearwater, Florida has become, you know what? Maybe this isn't a press release. It might be based on, because there is some Scientology info in here. They claimed that it's drawing over 10,000 visitors since its opening. So when did it open? 10,000 visitors? I don't think so. Every time I've seen the place, it's just dead and empty. Goes on to talk about how the Citizens Commission on Human Rights, a nonprofit watchdog organization, established the museum to raise awareness about psychiatric practices and advocate for changes in mental health legislation. And when we're not doing that, we are taking envelopes of cash and giving it to enemies of people who are exposing Scientology. Okay, I added that last part. I think you guys know that, though. Hey, Wendy. Good to see you there, Windy City Thetan Watch. I'm going to link this down below. You can read the whole thing, but you kind of get the idea. 10,000 visitors. I don't even think 10,000 people walk through downtown Clearwater in that area. I'm just not buying it. Are they counting like everywhere? Like not just in Clearwater, but that have ever visited any place they ever took the exhibit to? Call me jaded, but I'm just saying, I just don't feel like 10,000 people could have gone to that place in Clearwater. I don't know. You guys tell me. Am I being nutty? Nutmeg, 10,000 visitors since they started requiring members to visit daily. True. They do require members when you're coming or going from the Flag land base, from doing services at Flag, be it Superpower, where you're going to run around a pole and do other things, or there are other more expensive specialty rundowns set aside for the Scientologist, the discerning Scientologist who wants to pay $40,000 so they can say they did. Because when you get the cloud of saying, oh, I've done all 3 L's, those are the L rundowns in Scientology. I don't even know what the L stands for now that I think about it. Does anybody know, Phil Jones, any of my former Scientology friends? What does that L stand for in the L rundowns? And why have I never asked this or thought about it? Crazy things happen when you leave Scientology. You start thinking and asking questions. What does the L rundown, what does the L stand for? I honestly do not know. Anyways, you pay ridiculous amounts of money and it's supposed to give you these powers and it's a lot of clout. It's like Scientology clout. Because let's be honest, Scientology as a whole is a bunch of clout goblins. I'm not saying all Scientologists. I'm saying Scientology as a whole. That's why they want to associate with celebrities and things like that. And if you're a Scientologist and you can say you've done all of these. Now, Farrell Cheryl says L stands for loony. 3-part, very expensive. Very expensive. Loony rundowns make sense to me. Leapfrog, liar, could be nutmeg. Oh, power lies to paralyze. Adulting here. Your L stands for LIS. The L rundowns, the LIS rundowns. So they must assess, go down different lists. Okay. Not very original Scientology. L rundown sounds, I guess, like a better sell. Maybe that's not why it's not called list rundowns. It just doesn't sound as sexy at all. But I'm still going with L for loony. Super Weekend Warrior says life. Could L be for life? Power lies to paralyze. I'm assuming like you know for sure. Or was that what you think it might be? Or you know for sure. Although I feel like Power Lies to Paralyze knows all kinds of things that I have found to be very helpful in understanding my experience in Scientology in so many ways. So always appreciate you jumping in and the videos that you do. Power Lies to Paralyze also has a YouTube channel and covers a lot of different short clips where you can kind of understand why are these things in Scientology so insidious? Not just that they are, but why? How does it work? And if you like learning that kind of thing and really doing a deeper dive in that way, check out Paralyzed to Paralyze here on YouTube. Now let's go over and look at a video by Jenna Miscavige that she did. This is the second or third video that she's done with Dallas, her former husband, who she was in the Sea Org with. Now, this one was fantastic because she gets into a lot about their relationship and post-divorce. And there are so many nuggets in here of, I feel like, even if you were never in a cult, if you have an ex, this could be the video for you. Let's look at a clip from this.
Even like doing these videos, I've noticed it's like, no, I like talking to this person. We've been through so much together. Yeah. I like telling these stories. I feel comfortable. Like I feel like and because we're not like forcing each other to do different things we don't want to do every day, and feeling like the other person isn't living up to our expectations, it's like we can actually appreciate the things that made us be able to stay together for that long. Like that you're a nice, caring person, that you're a great dad, that you are like on an emotional even keel and perhaps can someday pass that along to me somehow, or you can give me like an outside perspective on things that before I would take personal. Yeah. Where now it's like, okay, maybe it is true. I can see that. I know that he's a good person. I know that he never hurt me on purpose.
Get myself muted. Great conversation between two people who really knew each other as kids, as teenagers in the Sea organization, and to understand all that they went through together, and to see them today, to be able to sit down and create these videos and talk about their experience, I think is just amazing. I have a lot of respect for that, because I know, as someone who has multiple exes who she's had children with, not the easiest thing to do. I have so much admiration for that. It is a fantastic video. Go check it out. That again is on Jenna Miscavige's channel there. So check that out. Now let's talk about Philip Jones. Phil Jones, if you're still in the chat, we are going to look at a clip from your video here. This one right here. Let's see here. This video is Scientology's golden age of expansion finally here?
The administration technology that Hubbard had, what would be different for what Miscavige did? I mean, if he corrected any minor grammatical errors or spelling errors or leaving out certain things, but when a executive director like Aaron Cairo is going to go back to his org.
Remember, Aaron Cairo is the head of Scientology in San Francisco, also the head of Braille Skateboarding, got a big channel on YouTube. And he went to Florida at Flag to train under David Miscavige to learn how to be a Scientology leader.
What's he going to say to these people? Say, he'll be all excited. Now we're going to build the org. We're going to boom the org. And what are we going to do? We're going to do the same things that you've always been doing, but just more.
This is what is so awesome about this particular video, is Phil really gets into, my takeaway from it was that Scientology is and will continue to do the same thing and expect a different result. And we all know what that is, the literal definition of insanity. Doing the same thing, yet you expect a different result. You want a different result, but you're going to keep doing the same thing that got the result that you don't want. This is something that cannot change in Scientology because it is a core of the doctrine to follow what L. Ron Hubbard said. Now, having said that, we also know that David Miscavige has put his own stink on this Scientology cult. He has added in a few of his own things, like this whole ideal org program thing. That's not an L. Ron Hubbard thing. In fact, L. Ron Hubbard actually said, don't engage in fundraising. Yet, it's pretty much what Scientology does. It's one giant fundraising machine. It's just so stupid. Nisa says, my hat's off to both those two. And that would be Jenna and Dallas. My parents never even communicated like that. And it was a nightmare. It really does make a difference for the kids in that way. That is absolutely the bonus in any situation like that. All right, now let's go over to growing up in Scientology, where Aaron Smith-Levin dropped a video yesterday talking about how Scientology is getting their butt handed to them on Twitter, on the Twitter. This was so great. I could not believe it. This just was like, we just keep getting these gifts. So here's the thing. So Scientology on Twitter, let's start there. I am not on Twitter a ton, very little, although I'm like, I should maybe start tweeting. I don't know. I might start. It feels like it's just one more thing to do and handle, but I don't know. Maybe we shall see. I am on Twitter. I don't even know my Twitter handle. Doesn't matter now anyways. Okay, so back to this. On Twitter, there are certain people who like, what is it called? Where you like basically say, you get to put community notes on things. And on Twitter, if different groups of people from different factions who usually disagree with each other all agree on this one thing, it's more likely that the community note will appear. So my take on this is Scientology is literally uniting people. People on Twitter are being united over Scientology being a culty cult. And I think that's a beautiful thing. So in a way, is Scientology not achieving some of its goals stated supposedly of bringing people together? I think yes. Let's take a look at this.
They put up a video 5 hours ago that has 80 views. I mean,
so he was talking to you about how like Scientology on their YouTube channel, they have like 90 or 96,000 subscribers, but their videos don't tend to do that great. They'll get 1,300, 1,200 views. And then they dropped recently where it's like just hundreds of views. But then there's 2 videos in there with millions. So we've got, 80 people saw this video, but 2.5 million saw this one? Really? How's that happen? How does that math? Well, through paid advertising. They can get that video out and played as a commercial so more people see it. This backfired in a way on Scientology because more people saw the video, more people added to this community note thing and laid down the truth about Scientology. This is so fantastic.
Come on now. 500 views, 300 views. That's for an organization that claims to have 15 million members. Okay. So anyway, that brings us back to Scientology's Twitter account that has 96,000, of which 95,000 of those are entirely fake. And so while scrolling through their feed, I actually wasn't able to find the exact same advertisement that had been community noted. But I did find 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 other tweets from Scientology that got community noted. And
I want to note, because I talked to Aaron about this, he didn't go through all of them. He stopped when he found that many. So there could very well be more.
I just stopped after 7. Okay. So, and the note is always the same, which is interesting. Okay. So this is just as welcome to Scientology. It's literally, you click it just brings you to Scientology's website. There we go. Despite stating values of compassion and tolerance, Scientology has been noted for aggressive litigation against critics, allegations of exploitation, and significant financial demands for
Whoops. Hold on. I cut the end off there. I'll just read that for you. Despite stating value, and this is the community note on multiple Scientology tweets, despite stating values of compassion and tolerance, Scientology has been noted for aggressive litigation against critics, allegations of exploitation, and significant financial demands for religious training. Office of Special Affairs, we forgot to wake you up. Okay, David Miscavige. Duo, twins. You know, David Miscavige is a twin. Actually, I don't know if you guys knew that. Little known fact. He has a fraternal twin, female. David Miscavige, wake up, the Office of Special Affairs. We're going to be a little loud because, you know, even though it's kind of a holiday, I know y'all are working there. Okay, so as you can see, we're talking all about how Twitter is like being like, oh my gosh, Scientology, that's not true. Here's what Scientology is really about. And I'm so here for it. So much so that it makes me want to get on Twitter, which I normally have not done. Exactly. Oh, so wakey. Okay. Incarnasoul says dueling Davy headaches. So we've got this whole situation where multiple posts here are being, they all have that same message on top of them, or in the community note. And I think it's absolutely amazing. In the chat of Aaron's video last night, I did see people commenting about how one or two of them were actually, and I forget what they're called, community reporters, and some of them knew people who were, and we're verifying that, yeah, that's how it works. If enough people come together about this, especially from different factions that don't normally get along, yet they agree on this, it will push it out. And that will become, that community note will stand. Because again, Scientology is finally uniting the world through Twitter and everybody's complete and utter disdain for this cult. Oh, I just love it so much. I can barely stand it. Let's see here. Now I'm going to be grabbing, let me grab some comments here. Abigail says, hello, Natalie. I would say, and it's probably on the fringes of SPTV, but Reese's challenges this year were among the most polarizing for me. For example, the jesters. That's a good one, Abigail. Relatable Reese, who's here on YouTube, I think most of you are familiar with her, did go through an entire move exposing this group known as the Royal Order of the Jesters. You can find out all about it on her channel. And I do believe she's doing some more regular updates. She just got back from a trip to Vegas, crashing one of their parties. It was something. Lady Jane Out says, Natalie and Tom sitting in the tree. Tom Cruise, I doubt it. Let's be honest, though. We all know I'm never getting asked out by Tom Cruise. But if I did, I would go for the good food and the experience. All on his dime. I'd be like, put me on a private plane. Take me for sushi. Isn't that what he did with Katie Holmes? Let's see here. That is funny, though. Sitting in a tree. Let's see. Nisa, is he, so Tom Cruise, going to tell the truth about his marriages like he tells the truth about Scientology, which is a lie? I think it's exactly going to go like that. James Steele, why was the telephone late for work on January 1st? It was still ringing in the new year. I love James Steele and the dad jokes in the chat. Keep them coming in 2025, James. Me and Taz, happy 2025 Eve, Natalie, and wonderful people. Scientology might still be around, but holy crap, have everyone put a huge dent in their operation. I agree. And truly everyone, there is so much content when it comes to Scientology on the internet, so much when it comes to, digital. So that's why I always say, if you see something, say something, send me a clip, a timestamp, or an article to Natalie@lifeafteraCult.com. I'm not able to consume all of the content that is happening. And I try to share as much of the stuff I can that you guys are talking about. And I base that a lot on how much I'm hearing from you about it. I'll wake up sometimes and have like 30 emails about one particular thing. And I'll know, okay, we have to talk about it. And I appreciate you guys catching those things and emailing them to me, because you guys find some really great gems. Let's see here. So we got me and Taz. And thank you, Mama Opal. If you missed the live chat with Tony's boys yesterday, you should go back and watch it. It was a fun one. Lady Jane Out says, Heaven's Gate was wiped out. I don't think Cult of Scientology would do that, but there have been a lot of deaths due to Cult of Scientology technology. Very true. Cece, thank you for becoming a member of the channel. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. By the way, we are having a members only live today at 4 p.m. I have not done one for a couple of weeks with the holidays and stuff going on. We are going to do that today at 4. So if you want to become a member on the channel, there'll be a link shared, I'm sure, but also in the description of every video, there's a link to become a member. And if you're on my actual YouTube channel, you can click on the join link as well. I hope you guys join us. And if you can't join us today live at 4 p.m. Central Time, people, Central, remember I'm in the Midwest, then please do catch it on the replay. Let's see. James Steele says, I have successfully managed to read more in 2024. I watch everything with subtitles. That is a good way to do it. Let's see. Greggy Metalhead says, not sure which is worse between Scientology and Heaven's Gate. Really tragic ending with Heaven's Gate. But Scientology abuses have been going on for decades. No winners there. Yeah, you're right. You're totally right. Mama Opal says one of the top stories for her was Aaron getting attacked by Dog Guy. I would agree. That was one, it happened in real time. I can remember watching it live. I was laying in the recliner. Of course I was. And my Tony was laying on the couch. He was sleeping. And I remember being like, oh my gosh, babe, wake up. You got to see this. He watched a little bit and then he fell back asleep. But yeah, that was crazy to see it unfold in real time. Truly it was. Let's see. We did that one. Jolie says, my fave was seeing the low arse numbers for L. Ron Hubbard's birthday. You mean in terms of people attending that event? Absolutely. George Massey says, for me, the big SPTV story of the year was the Miriam Francis interview with Rabbit and the reaction from the Rinder camp. Yeah, that was a big one too. That really was. And I mean, there were multiple on different channels breaking that down and trying to help us understand what happened, what she needed. Absolutely. I had multiple videos on my channel recapping that. Let's see. Windy City Thayton Watch says, I'll be recovering from New Year's on Netflix, apparently. That's right. Catching up on all those good cult documentaries. Sue Herman, T. Swan has a female cult leader, which is unusual. That's true. Just like the Mother of God chick. So that's one of the things too that I found interesting about it that made me want to watch and learn about it is because she is a female. Let's see. Oh, here Tenacity's got a recommendation. Check out the new. Oh, wait, did we do? Oh, no, we shared that. I shared that one. Oh, yep. Top story of this past year. Boobs are a weapon. Boobgate with Nance Drew. What happened to her outside of Chicago? That was quite the ordeal, including the court hearings that occurred afterwards. I mean, there was so much drama wrapped up into that over something that was so simple because that's what Scientology does. They try to complicate things and drag them out and drain your resources, all of those things. But not their finest moment, Scientology. Not your finest moment. Andrew B says there have been a few mini cults started by people live streaming. I remember that guy Nature Boy had one. Ooh, I don't know about that one. I don't know about that one. Let's see. Angie, have the on the streets protests stopped? We don't see much coverage of them. Send me links. Natalie at lifeafteraccult.com. Almost every day I cover the protests, at least if there's not one. Sometimes there's 1 to 7 clips. Really depends on what's happening. Because again, I can't watch all of the content, but if you see something, say something, send me a clip. Just make sure to include a timestamp and tell me what I'm looking at because there's a lot to get through, even the stuff that you guys send me. So I would hugely appreciate it if you just make it easy and go timestamp. This is what you're looking at. That's hugely helpful. But we do, if you watch my channel, which I think that Angie, you got to go back and watch some videos because I talk about it almost every day. In fact, I have a playlist on my channel dedicated to nothing but the protests of Scientology. Be sure to check it out. Okay, let's see. All right. Here's one last thing I wanted to talk about in my hot topics here. This is where we get a little off topic from Scientology, but not completely. There is usually a tie. I'm going to use as a jumping point. I'm going to show you a clip from a video I did with my daughter, Kelsey, not long ago, where she talked about what it was like for her growing up in a Scientology family with undiagnosed ADHD, which is going to tie into what I want to talk about with what's called hyperfixation and being hyper-focused. Listen to this. For you to sit there and you're supposed to be still, you can't twitch, you can't move as someone who had ADHD.
I would say TRs, right? These are called training routines. And to me, I'm like, the T is for torture. Like they were like torture routines where, I mean, part of ADHD is like, I'm a very fidgety person, even in my adult life, but it was definitely worse as a child. And then I remember doing them specifically with my sister where, you know, we're sitting on chairs like this and you're just supposed to like keep a straight face. And like the moment whoever's in charge looked away, I'd be like, you know, like, which you know, sometimes Shelby would scold me later because again, she's does it by the book. She was doing it right. But I'm like, what is this? And like to sit there and not be able to fidget, like, I mean, I feel like if I was in a Catholic school, I would have got the ruler
for you. She would have gotten the ruler. Now, that video, and I linked it down below. If you did not see it, it will be in the description of this video. And Nancy, if she hasn't already, oh, there, it's already in the chat. Of course it is. The woman is so efficient. It's like Nancy and I are telepathically connected. All right. So my daughter, Kelsey, got diagnosed with ADHD as an adult. Of course, she didn't as a child, because in Scientology, we don't take our kids to counselors, psychiatrists, psychologists, or nor do we acknowledge that there is such thing as ADHD, or let's be honest, any type of neurodivergency. It's just, y'all just need Dianetics. Y'all need Dianetics. Y'all need Scientology. You just need to do your next step. And it got me really thinking about my daughter's experience and what she shared in growing up in an environment like that and how controlling Scientology is. And there's many things in my own experience where, because again, growing up, same thing with my parents. Plus, I'm at the age where ADHD wasn't known about to the degree that it was when I was growing up. I did not hear about it till I was well into adulthood. Lori plays, that's right. Natalie laughing while Natalie is laughing. Love it. I know. I was laughing, thinking, oh my God, laughing at myself. That looks weird. But it's okay, even if it looks weird, which is kind of like my topic here. It got me thinking about neurodiversity in Scientology, but also in other high control groups. And does it make it easier for Scientology? This is a discussion I want to start with you guys that I think is going to become its own separate video, but I really want to hear from you on this. And mainly it's, what role does being neurodiverse play in getting involved with a cult like Scientology? Almost every member of my family I'm quickly going through them in my head. The majority of my family members have been diagnosed with some type of neurodiversity. And of course, all after leaving Scientology. And I know of other families and struggles that they've had, and I can look back at their time in Scientology and see a lot of it tied to neurodiversity being unacknowledged and not letting people create their own environment that is better for them, that helps their brain, or to allow them to take some time if they're being overstimulated. And in that video with my daughter, she talks a lot about that. And I've always had this question about, does Scientology, whether they know it, they're doing it knowingly or not, target and prey on people who are neurodiverse? And do they exploit the weaknesses and strengths of people who are neurodiverse? I'm hoping you guys are going to jump in with a bunch of comments on this. And if you're on the replay, please get in those comments, because I am going to go back and read them. Ren listens. I agree. I think all of us have some level of neurodivergence. I agree with you 100%. And I think that in Scientology, it makes it worse and more challenging, because Scientology is like the Borg, especially in the Sea organization. You will be assimilated. You become one of the group of the whole. You operate as a unit. You're always thinking of the group first. And that doesn't work for most people when you think about living or showing up in life in a way that works for you, especially if you need to change things. Like, one thing I have really enjoyed in my life post Scientology, and I got to be honest with you, my Tony hugely helped me with this, has been learning to adjust my environment so that it's more conducive for me. I like lower lighting. If you've been to my house, a few of you have, I have very low lighting. I don't like overhead lighting if I can help it. And that is a preference. I think it's an aesthetic, but I also notice that I'm better. It helps me to focus better. It helps me to feel not so overstimulated. The reason I don't like restaurants is because of all the talking, and I hate restaurants with televisions. Don't even get me started on that. We will be here all day. Cannot stand it. Now, if you're into sports and you're going to a bar and you want to watch, I get it. I can't handle all of that noise going back and forth. I absolutely hate it. Can't say that here. It's a morning show, but if you caught my other show where I did share that phrase, I find myself saying a lot and I'm trying to get out of the habit. I'm thinking it. I rather eat a bag of blank than have massively bright overhead lighting and it being very loud. I think it's too why I don't like big box stores. Let's see. Lori Play says, I don't like dark rooms. Light makes me happy, but I don't use overheads. Yeah, I get that. I get that. Mock says, too many frequencies interacting badly. Yes. James Steele says, I struggle to drive at night and can't do crowds. I'm with you. Let's see. Timiha says, I can't do that TV chaos either. Yeah, I don't know who likes it. Why they do that. I hate it. Unless I'm being forced to go because I'm with people. Jersey Jan says, I also don't like the high volume in places, but I do like the bright lights. All right. You see how many different ways people prefer living. And that's the beauty of being allowed to create our own ecosystem at home. And when I was in Scientology, primarily in the Sea organization, you're not allowed to do that. You can't have, it's like, well, if they don't like it, you can't have it. You get your room inspected with a white glove at times. You could get your room tossed. They could go through your things at any given time looking for something you shouldn't have, like a television or I don't know what else. Victoria says lighting is toxic since the light bulb changes. I'm not 100% tracking, but I hear what you're saying that lighting can be toxic. Squirrel SPTV, do you like the Christmas lights? I do, but I wish I had a dimmer on the lights on my Christmas tree. I'm looking at them right now. And if they could be a little dimmed, I feel like I would like that. Absolutely. Hey, Snake, on time is when you get here. So I'm just glad you made it. You have to go back and catch the replay because we went over a lot if you just got here. Ren Listen says, conforming to the norm forces us to lose our uniqueness. Be who you are, even if that means without above head lighting. Exactly. And there's other things too, like even my desire to be comfortable in what I wear. Like I'm really starting to be more comfortable in doing what helps me to feel better, in doing what helps me to feel comfortable, rather than my entire life. And I think many of you might be able to relate, but especially in Scientology and mainly the Sea Org was about conforming and fitting in. And I feel like outside of Scientology, it's not that different. Yet, as we learn more and more about neurodiversity, and that we really have the need for different ecosystems, and there are even some businesses starting to cater to this, and where you can make changes in certain ways. I feel like we still have a long way to go, but I am curious about your thoughts. Powerless to Paralyzed, this would be a good one for you. Are there ties between neurodiversity and Scientology or cults? Does that make people more likely to conform? Because part of Scientology, why I think in ways I was able to become a soldier for Scientology, if you will, in the Sea Org, is I appreciate routine. I like a schedule. I like the same thing when it comes to a schedule, like over and over and over again. It doesn't matter what it is. If it's consistent, I do better with it. Now, later in life, I'm trying to be more spontaneous and not so much like that. But I was that way for such a long time. And my time in the Sea Org, I felt like played into that. I could eat the same thing every day. I really could. And again, in the Sea Org, it was pretty much you had the same thing for breakfast every day. It would differ for lunch, but only vary a little bit. And it's kind of the same thing with dinner. You didn't go outside of that. It's just what they gave you. So that routine, the way my brain works is like, I like that stuff, but it didn't allow for any true creativity and uniqueness. And during my 11 years, my time with my Tony before he passed away, he had ADHD, and he introduced me to the idea of changing your environment, of creating the ecosystem that you need to thrive in. I got a lot of smart bulbs in my house because I like the low lighting. I like lighting with different colors. Same thing with diffusers. I love certain scents in certain rooms. These little things we can do that really make our environment more conducive for us. I'm also curious, you guys throw in the chat, and if you're on the replay, get in the comments. What do you do that really helps you set the environment to be more conducive for where you work best, where you can, I guess, best work or create from. I'm curious if you guys take those steps to do that, because what I'm learning, what I'm coming to understand more, is it has everything to do with self-care. And I think a lot of self-care is creating an environment where you can thrive as an individual. Power Lies to Paralyze says the C or conditioning causes the preference for routine. That makes sense. That makes sense. It would. And I think it's just such a curious topic. I feel like I need to speak to almost a specialist in the field of neurodiversity, but as it relates to things like cults. There's a whole video in here that I just dying to do. But if you guys have any input or links or data about it, I would love to hear it. Natalie@lifeafteraccult.com is where you can email me. I don't know if you can put links in the comments, but you can definitely email me, or in the comments say what it is, because I'm really looking for what your guys' thoughts are on this. I truly am. And I'm going to go catch up too and read of your comments on it, because some of you are very specific about lights too. And I love it. I love that we can even do that. You know what I'm saying? So I guess I'm giving you guys a little bit of homework, or at least for those that are interested. If you have any data or know of experts or podcasts or videos about neurodiversity, especially as it might relate to cults, let me know, because I think this is a topic we need to get into in 2025. I'm going to heavily lean on y'all to help me research it and find out. Dr. MLS says, I watch my Natalie in the car. It's my special happy place. I love that. Happy New Year to you, Dr. MLS. Mock says, I wore the ear protection from the shooting range in public for years before noise canceling headphones. Oh, that actually is really smart. That is smart. Selena says, I wasn't a scented candle person until I got one as a birthday gift several years ago from a friend. Now I'm all about them. I love a diffuser too. I love essential oils. I like experimenting with different scents. In fact, when Tony's boys were over yesterday, we made lip balm. Because I've got this little apothecary, and that's something that we used to do too with Tony, is we made our own lip balm and we would make candles. So got to make some lip balm, and Oliver joined in as well, and he made his own little one. It was so cute. So that's your homework. Members only live today at 4. Let's see. I am, what is happening tomorrow? I'm not 100% on the 1st yet. I feel like I am going to do something, especially since it is the 15th anniversary of me leaving Scientology. But I also want to lounge around and be lazy in the morning. So it's probably not happening at 9 o'clock. I can almost guarantee that. Well, and it is the 1st too. I mean, but it's not because I'm going to be up late. My grandkids are coming over. If they're staying up till midnight, I'm probably not, just because. Although sometimes I do. Sometimes I do. But just, if I'm not already up, I won't stay up for it, because, your girl is tired. All right. So if y'all could do that, hit that like, check your subscribe too, by the way, and hope to see you on the Members Only Live or catch it on the replay. I will see y'all. And if I don't see you, I hope you guys have the most amazing cult-free New Year's.